massive pressure is building on the Andhra Pradesh government-appointed board to roll back its decision to sell off some assets of the Tirupati temple. This is the richest temple in the country, remember. The opposition is up in arms. Left parties, the BJP, they have decided to call for a protest against the trust decision to sell properties belonging to the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. They've called it an anti-Hindu act. And why? Because the board had recently initiated proceedings to sell some of the properties in Tamil Nadu and Uttarakhand and in Andhra Pradesh in order to raise money. The TTD, or the Devasthanam board, says that proceeds of the sale will be used to tide over cash crunch caused because of lockdown. The opposition is calling it an unfair targeting of only one religion and of only one temple. We've got news coming in right now. The board president, in fact, has spoken 2 times now and has said that we will reconsider the decision. Sources are indicating 2 times now that as pressure is building after Times Now aired the story, now the board may just reconsider its decision. Okay, now this is very strange. Let me go across to Vivek Narayan, that you've got the board president saying that too much is being made out of nothing. But isn't it a fact, Vivek, that there is in fact documents in our possession that show that it's not something under consideration. It's a decision that has already been taken.
Exactly. 3 weeks back, Padmaja, a detailed government order, TTD order came out where they listed these properties, where they said these are the people who will be looking at selling this. But now all of a sudden, TTD chairman seemed to have had a rethink. He said our intention was not to hurt Hindu sentiments. We are deeply pained by these allegations which have come against us, and we will go to any length to make sure that we are not misunderstood. Essentially stopping short of saying that we withdraw the order. Let's look at the order right now. I have the order here with me. He says it is from the office of the executive engineer or executive officer TTD Devasthanam Tirupati, and it is dated 30/4/2020. And the order says the TTD board in its resolution read above has resolved to dispose the following immovable property which are unviable and non-maintainable by the TTD through public auction as per the upset value. Well, has decided to sell these immovable property, the key word there, Padmaja, and going on to list 23 pieces of property, all of them in Tamil Nadu, Villupuram, Kanchi district, Orathur, Kanchipuram, and it goes on. Some of them are farmlands, some of them are agricultural, some are house sites with. So essentially what these faithful in Tamil Nadu had done is they had gone out and given to their devotee, given to Sri Balaji what they thought should be given to the god, for offering to the god, what they saw, for blessings they had given it. This Dhanam, the process of giving in called. But that process of giving in to the Lord was taken by the TTD at a point when they wanted some money, they tried to sell it, and that is why the entire conspiracy angle has come in, and that is precisely why opposition parties, Hindu nationalist forces all joining together and opposing the move.
Absolutely. Stay with me, Vivek, because we also will take it across to our panel. We only have Sundar Balakrishnan right now with us. We are hoping to be joined by Anurag Naidu also in just a bit. Sundar Balakrishnan, why?
Padmaja, see, let me tell you. See, there is a difference between a real Hindu and a political Hindu. Now, these leaders, BJP leaders specifically, they are political Hindu. I'll tell you why. Because between 1998 and 2004, when these people were in power, that time also there were several properties of TTDs being sold. It was sold. Now, I will give you one example, a recent example. In 2016, there was a squabble between BJP and Shiv Sena over the trusteeship appointment at Siddhivinayak and Shirdi. Okay. Now, they wanted the control over these temples. My point is, all these political parties should be away from this temple trust. Now, Suresh Havare was appointed as a BJP leader in Shirdi Trust. Why they want a control there? They should remove the control everywhere. On the one hand, they are saying that all the temples should be free from political interference. But at the same time, in Maharashtra, they are appointing the trustee as a BJP leader in Shirdi Trust. Why is that? Is it not a double standard? Hypocrisy?
Let's ask Anurag Naidu. Today, the BJP is a part of the protests against the auctioning of temple properties when they themselves were a part of the trust when the decision was taken. Anurag Naidu.
No, they were not a part of the trust when the decision was taken. There was a clear allegation made. So I don't want to be political here because I'm not here as a politician, but let me clear the air for the people who are watching Times Now that BJP was a part of the board in the previous government when the decision was initiated. And there was a recommendation from the panel to the TTD, whereas the TTD did not decide to dispose these 23 properties. TTD only decided to dispose and issued a notification on 30th of last month to dispose these properties. That's number one. Number two, most important thing here is we had a press conference from Mr. Subba Reddy. I'm very glad that Subba Reddy ji has made it clear that the government is going to rethink. And I humbly seek Jagan Mohan Reddy's benevolence in this matter, because surely we are not discussing interference of political parties into the temple trust. That's a different debate for a different day. But
Sundar
today what we are actually
No, diverting. Mr. Anurag Naidu. No, Mr. Naidu. Let me tell you, if you are saying that, the temple property should not be sold, I want to ask you one simple thing. Why do you want control over this trust, first of all? Why do you want control?
Sir, we are not discussing about the control. The discussion point is...
Because the control first is prima facie is control. Only then you can sell this property. You don't tell me that Shirdi did not sell any property after 2016. Shirdi did not sell. In fact, there were many properties sold by
TTD. Sir, I am talking here about TTD.
Let us not have the double standard.
In its power,
we are going to have an equal law everywhere. Let that law be applied by BJP everywhere.
I am questioning about morality and spirituality. Where is the morality? Tomorrow, somebody...
There is no morality, spirituality for any political party.
Let's take this
there is no morality and spirituality for any political party.
Just a second. Can I please have both the audios down? The audio of both down. Sundar Balakrishnan, the principal point being made is that because Anurag Naidu is not from the BJP, he is saying morally this is a reprehensible decision. Do you agree?
See, let me tell you one thing. First and foremost, whether he is from BJP or not BJP, I'm not for that. First thing is, I want all these people, political parties, pseudo-Hindu, I call them pseudo-Hindus, because Dwarka Shankaracharya clearly said BJP has done maximum damage to the Hinduism. Now, let me tell you, now, why TTD properties, 1998 to 2004, BJP was in power in central. Did they raise any objection? That time also there were several properties being sold. Did they raise any objection that time? They didn't raise any objection. Why now? Why now? Because today, during this lockdown, every temple is having a problem of cash. They have a problem of cash. I know there is a temple in Dombivli, which is Karthik temple. They have got monthly outflow of 1.5 lakhs. They don't have money. If that is so, let the government fund these temples. Are they doing? They are not doing.
I'm apologetic, but I'm sorry that I think the panelists have come here to attack the BJP, and I'm not going to discuss any political intention behind it, because I'm telling you the political interference has been there in all the trust, and that's a different debate, sir, altogether. Please don't dilute the essence of this particular debate. 23 properties are going to go on sale, and there's a wide protest. Tomorrow there is a protest from a political party, but not making it political. I'm getting calls from all across the world. My cousins in abroad, who are the biggest donors, one of the biggest donors for the temple. My family or me, we are involved in the process for a long time, and I'm telling you that all sentiments and emotions are attached to the temple. Om Namo Venkatesha. When we say that our sentiments and spirituality is attached to the temple, we find it morally wrong. You do it something else. Today there was a press conference from the former TTD chairman.
It's very important. Sundar Balakrishnan.
Let me ask one thing. Let me ask one thing, Mr. Naidu.
From the former TTD chair, from the former
Mr. Naidu,
Minister of Andhra, he made it clear that 4 properties were given to the charitable organization in the previous tenure. One was to Daksha Patra, one was Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar Ashram, to set up charitable initiative, to set up spiritual initiative, and that was given on the lease to support the motives of the temple. Today, we don't know what is the motive of the people who are going to buy this property.
Yes,
if somebody sets up a liquor shop in Tamil Nadu or Vellore, can you stop it, sir?
Okay.
Is it morality?
Padmaja, yes. One simple answer I want from Mr. Naidu. See, if they are opposing the sale of these properties at this point of time when the temple needs cash, now if they agree they will not sell, Are they prepared to fund these temples for the daily running of the temples? Are they prepared to fund?
First of all, I don't.
Where will they get the money from?
I don't think. Yes, I'll answer you. First of all, I don't think that TTD temple is cash crunch. TTD's annual budget is 3,000 crores. Please get it right. Second thing, the government is well within its right.
Removed 1,000
loan
from the temple.
The government required.
Please.
They took loan from the TTD board.
They have not given the contract of 1,300 contract laborers who have been working in the temple. Why did they do that? Because they didn't have money to pay all those people.
If our God needs money, devotees will crowdfund, sir. You don't have to worry. TTD is not tomorrow.
No, so answer me this, Anurag Naidu.
How can you
answer
say
me
that?
this, just a second. Answer me this, Anurag Naidu. You are saying that this land should not be sold off, but if tomorrow salaries have to be paid, where will that money come from? Are you saying that the taxpayer should pay for that money?
Padmaja, what happened is,
employees recently, Padmaja, they sacked 1,000, they didn't return the contract of 1,400 contract laborers.
There is a need to support the government charitable initiative. The temple gave the money in form of loan to the government. This is the time that the government can pay the temple back, number one. Number two, I strongly believe, Padmaja, TTD is the richest temple in India. The annual budget are around 3,000 crores. There is no dearth of money. Yes, if there is any dearth of money in terms of current circulation, they can go for loans. There are banks and institutions that can lend loans.
Okay, so you're saying this is just a ruse. This is just a ruse, Sundar Balakrishnan, to take over and sell off temple properties. It's an excuse.
Can I make a point? Can I make a point? 1 point, Padmaja.
Please respond to this point, Sundar Balakrishnan.
Yeah.
That this is just a ruse. This whole thing about, we don't have money.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Don't have. See, now they are saying we don't have money. Now, in that case, why are these people did not support? They were silent.
Then in that case, Sundar Balakrishnan, if they do not have money, then before taking away land which has been donated by devotees, devotees should be shown the books and say, look, here are our books. We do not have any money, and then the devotees perhaps can give more money.
I agree with you.
Why don't you ask the devotees for money instead of selling off the property, which is not for the government to sell?
I agree with you, Padmaja. They will be doing it in a transparent way. Let them do it. I am agreeing with you.
The devotees will crowdfund, sir.
But opposing not to sell is not correct, because either they should, if they are saying that they should not sell, they should also have a idea how to fund.
If our God is needing money, if our Almighty is needing money, we can crowdfund to the tunes of 10 crores a day. I'm telling you, sir, please, there is no dearth of any money for
So, Mr. Naidu, come out with a plan how to fund the temple and give the plan to the TTD so that they will not sell the property. Give the plan, no.
In the next 24 hours, I'm going to write to Subba Reddy, sir. I'm telling you, yes, 100%, we have a plan. 100% we have
Okay, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So we've made some progress. But my other question is that this whole politicization which is happening, Anurag Naidu, where it is being said that this is being done deliberately by the YSRCP government, and all sorts of insinuations are being made about Jagan Reddy's religion, etc., etc. Exactly. Is that misplaced? Because the fact is, the original proposal was by the TDP government.
To be very honest, as a politician, I will be very honest in telling that I don't think the Honorable Chief Minister is micromanaging the affairs of the temple at this point in time. This was, yes, as Subba Reddy ji, as the chairman, clarified that it was a previous proposal and they decided to go on considering the current circumstances and looking at the backlash, and they are trying to reconsider the situation. I do not think very strongly that I don't think the Honorable Chief Minister is micromanaging this thing, or YSRCP as a party or religion of Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy is coming in the way. I don't think so.
Can I come in here?
Okay, final comment. Sundar Balakrishnan.
Padmaja, let me tell you, every political party wants a control on this. I will tell you, Shirdi recently contributed 500 crores for a dam construction project. You remember that? Why the funds were taken from Shirdi? Why it was under BJP control government, they had taken 500 crores. Why did they take the money from Shirdi Temple Trust? Why? The government does not have money?
Exactly. I'll clarify that point. If it permit me, I'll clarify that point. Every government has taken money whenever it is required for public welfare and the project for the welfare of the people.
Why?
And
government's money, tax money is there.
When the government has taken, the government has the onus to pay it back whenever the temple money.
Sorry.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Double standard. Don't use temple money. Sorry, you cannot use temple money. Use government money. We are paying taxes. Use from that.
Okay, that is a totally valid point, and that hypocrisy should not be excusable, given irrespective of whichever government has made that move. I think we're going to end with consensus on at least one point, that this is money that has been given by devotees and it belongs to them. Their consent is needed. Nobody can take it away or should take it away. Thank you very much, Anurag Naidu and Sundar Balakrishnan, for having joined us. What will the board do? That is the big story, and we'll keep our focus on it tonight on the News Hour agenda at 10. Until then, thanks very much, both gentlemen. Welcome back. Talking about the corona figures in the country, as of today, 1 in every 3 people who is infected with the coronavirus in India comes from the state of Maharashtra, which means that it is this one state that is shaping India's spiraling corona curve. 1/3 of the cases coming from just one state. 25% of daily infections come from Mumbai alone, which is India's financial capital, but right now seems to have become the corona capital. What's adding to the fear is that the Maharashtra government has been found wanting repeatedly when it comes to tackling the pandemic. Times Now has time and again exposed several lapses on the part of the state, also on part of the BMC that controls a majority of the COVID hospitals. And these are lapses that have contributed to making Maharashtra the worst hit state. When Maharashtra's curve spirals up, so does India's, and similarly when it comes down, India's growth curve also sees an improvement. So if the situation in Maharashtra can be contained, the battle against corona will be half won. As you can see, the data on your screen, it is clearly Maharashtra which is contributing in large part to the spike that we are seeing in India. But instead of containing the spread, the government seems to be trying to gag its critics. The Mumbai Police Commissioner has now passed a new order has renewed an order which uses Section 144 of the CRPC to make all social media users liable for circulation of information which, quote-unquote, causes panic among people or incites mistrust towards the government functionaries. Many believe this may be a free pass for action against anyone who is either criticizing the government or anyone who is actually a whistleblower about the negligence taking place in several hospitals. Many citizens, by the way, have pointed this out, and this concern has also been shared by several politicians, not just of the opposition, but one of Congress's own Neta. The Congress, remember, is in government, an alliance in Maharashtra, but Ruchi Gupta, who holds the post of Joint Secretary in the AICC, has expressed concern about this police order. So what is it that the Aghadi Sarkar doesn't want to hear? It is testimonies like this one.
No, 80% takeover, if the BMC wants to do it, it is fine, but it has to come with all the conditions, right? The survival of the management, the survival of the hospital and the payment of the staff, everything needs to be considered. You just cannot bluntly say that you have been acquired. What if I get infected tomorrow? I have to search for a bed. Okay. Why is BMC not having a separate setup or a center exclusively for paramedical staff or doctors or health workers? 50 lakhs insurance which we are talking about, what is the criteria? I mean, are the private hospitals, is it applicable to them also? Okay. The policy is not clear, and no, under this circumstances it will be, the losses will keep on mounting, and how to pay the salaries, then how to pay the rent, how to pay other things, that will be a big question mark after a month or so. You win the doctors with confidence. Don't instill fear in them that if you don't do this, I'll file FIR against you. The first thing which comes to a doctor's mind is, if you don't follow this, there will be FIR filed against you, license cancelled from government side, this, that, all negative.
All right, in fact, these are searing testimonies that have been given not by anyone else, but by doctors who are saying that while we work in private clinics, the state government has told us to reserve our beds, to draw us in for COVID service, but yet no protection is being given to us. And there are serious concerns that are being raised by doctors in Maharashtra. Here are more such testimonies.
I'm being joined by one more doctor who is running his private hospital. He too has complaints from BMC because the assurances that BMC gives to the medics and the paramedics are not being fulfilled, especially to the private hospitals. There are a lot of charges on them. Their expenses have gone up. At the same time, they're not getting help from the BMC as far as the staff is concerned. So we'll speak to one more doctor. We'll try and understand what is his complaint as far as the BMC's management is concerned. सर ये बताइए क्या कुछ दिक्कतें आ रही हैं? BMC ने बोला था 80% टेक ओवर कर लेंगे, तो क्या 80% किया टेक ओवर और क्या कुछ तकलीफें आ रही हैं?
No, 80% takeover, if the BMC wants to do it, it is fine, but it has to come with all the conditions, right? the survival of the management, the survival of the hospital and the payment of the staff, everything needs to be considered. You just cannot bluntly say that you have been acquired, and because you have to consider a lot of things in private aspect. The hospitals which are on government lease lands, which are run by trust, they have a lot of exemptions. But private hospitals who are on rental basis premises or owned premises, they have different cost, all commercials. So
right now I am at a hospital in Gorai area of Mumbai, and what we've been given to understand why we are here is that many doctors, those who are running small private hospitals, have a lot of complaints from the state government and BMC, because initially they were promised that 80% of the hospital will be taken over by BMC. BMC will provide staff to the hospital. BMC will take care of everything at the hospital. But despite the assurances, nothing is happening on ground. This is not what I am saying. This is what doctors are claiming. So I am being joined by one of the doctors who is almost 18 hours working in his hospital treating COVID patients. He doesn't want to reveal his identity, but he wants to talk and raise issue so that BMC and government can get to know what is happening in reality in Mumbai city.
गवर्नमेंट हमको हर तरह से एश्योर करना चाहती है कि हम लोग पेशेंट का इलाज करें. हम लोग डॉक्टर कम्युनिटी उसके लिए आना चाहती है, लेकिन हमारे पास जो सपोर्ट सिस्टम हमारे स्टाफ, पैरामेडिक्स या दूसरे स्टाफ का चाहिए वो नहीं. पब्लिक में इतना डर बैठ गया है कि वो आगे आना नहीं चाहती है. जो हमारे स्टाफ की कैपेसिटी थी वो आज आधे से भी कम है. मैं खुद यहाँ पे हॉस्पिटल में 12 घंटे 16 घंटे, इनफैक्ट अगर कभी पेशेंट को एक्सपायर हो जाए तो हम लोग के लिए बॉडी पैक करने के लिए, उसके लिए भी हम लोग जैसे किसी बाहर कोई एक्सपायर होगा तो हम डॉक्टर लोग किसी को हेल्प करते हैं, तो हम उस चीज़ के लिए भी रेडी हैं कि पेशेंट को आज स्टाफ अगर बॉडी पैक नहीं करेगा तो हम पैक करके भेजेंगे.
तो कितने पेशेंट अभी आपके और कितना स्टाफ है आपके पास?
9 पेशेंट है हमारे पास और हमारा 8-9 का स्टाफ है. हमने उसके लिए अलग से एक जगह लिए भाड़े पे. अभी हर होटल और सब जगह डॉक्टर को कम्युनिटी के नाम पर लोगों को जगह देने से मना करते हैं, क्योंकि हॉस्पिटल प्रेमिसेस अपने स्टाफ को हम नहीं रख सकते.
BMC ने किस तरह की मदद की बात की थी और क्या मदद मिली है अभी तक?
BMC से उन्होंने बोला कि जो कोई क्रिटिकल पेशेंट होगा भेजेंगे. जो भी चीज़ें अभी आज PPE का है वो तो हमने मार्केट से ली. हमको पहले सुनने मिला था कि 1 महीने पहले कि सरकार से बोला गया था PPE हमको प्रोवाइड की जाएगी, बट हम लोगों ने जो PPE सब मार्केट से ओपन से, मैं डायरेक्टली खुद जो था वहाँ से, जो फैक्ट्री में जहाँ बनती है कि किस क्वालिटी, क्योंकि हमको इसको पहन काम करना है, तो मैं खुद वहाँ फैक्ट्री से खुद लेके आया. हम हर चीज़ में गवर्नमेंट को मुंह देखेंगे. हमको N95 मास्क जो आज जो पहले कुछ रुपए का मिलता था, आज तो कईयों गुना भाव में हमको मिला.
आप जो प्राइवेट पेशेंट उनसे पैसा भी चार्ज कर रहे हैं या फिर
कुछ चार्ज करना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज हम कैसे सस्टेन करेंगे? हमारे पास अपना ऑलरेडी रेंटेड प्लेस है, तो हम कैसे सस्टेन करेंगे? हमको चार्ज करना पड़ेगा पेशेंट को.
तो अभी आपके पास लगातार पेशेंट पे फ़ोन आया करते हैं?
हमारे पास डेली हमारे हॉस्पिटल कैपेसिटी है जितनी, उससे डबल पेशेंट के कॉल पर डे हमें आते हैं. हमारे पास वेंटिलेटर को होते हुए भी हमारे पास सपोर्ट स्टाफ नहीं, तो वेंटिलेटर की सर्विसेज हम ऑफर नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि हमारे पास सपोर्ट स्टाफ उसके लिए विलिंग नहीं है.
Gopal Krishna Agarwal, spokesperson of the BJP, is with us along with political analyst Shubhransh Rai. Every time that the Maharashtra government says that there is unnecessary politics, Shubhransh Rai, the only question is, leave politics aside. These are doctors and people who are saying that we seem to be beyond any help.
Padmaja, there is two big important things for everyone who are into India as on date. The first concern, what the bigger responsibility coming from the central side and along with the bigger corporations coming from the state side. After close to approx 60 days of lockdown time, and yet not, because the Modi government, Prime Minister Modi already told we are manufacturing 2 lakh PPE kits and 2 lakh and 95 masks per day. So where is?
So you're not answering the question. The question is very simple. Here there are people on camera are saying, my mother was extremely ill, my father was extremely ill. They weren't given a bed in Mumbai. Now what do you expect the center to do about this?
Yeah, that's why I told you, Padmaja, na, before your package, I seen one person who is with the PPE and they have problem with the PPE. So the concern is whatever the Modi government is offering for the production of 2 lakhs PPE and 2 lakhs and 95.
Sir, I am not asking that question at all. I am just saying there are no beds.
My word, no,
but you can't sidetrack my question. My question is, why are there no beds?
Because that's why I told you, na. Because whatever I already told you, there is a big responsibility coming from the center along with the big corporations coming from the states. And now, end of the day, the 16 days is a buying period for any states and any central. If that much number of beds are not available and that much of surplus funds are not going to the state, so surely it is a responsibility of the central.
Okay.
Because, end of the day, India is a country which is run by the central policy, not run by the state policy.
The problem with Maharashtra is that the government is completely failed. They are not able to manage anything. Yesterday also we saw the spat of the discussion between the rail minister and the Maharashtra Uddhav Thackeray when he said that I want trains to send my this migrant labours. Then finally no list came. The thing is that from the start, when the 6 hospitals in Maharashtra, private hospitals, were to be closed, that was the issue, that neither they were able to contain the epidemic, neither they were able to control the police force or medical staff, etc. The number of even police force have fell through this corona crisis. That is because the state government is not at all making right arrangement.
And there is something that you should also watch, because there's news just coming in that the BMC staff in one place in Mumbai has been accused of evicting COVID warriors. Doctors who were working in COVID wards were evicted and forced to stay on the road. Doctors treating COVID patients say that BMC officers evicted them and they were forced to spend 2 hours on the road. Alternative accommodation given has no window and is in a pitiable condition. So this is discrimination being alleged by doctors at the hand of BMC officers. Let's listen in. Let me get Arunil on the phone line first to explain the circumstances of this entire story. Arunil, explain to us, why were these doctors evicted? What happened? Tell us in detail.
Well, this is an extremely appalling incident, basically from South Mumbai. These are COVID warriors, doctors who have been working at the St. George COVID ward. So basically they are treating COVID patients and they need proper rooms of ventilation. That is a must for them, and that is why a high-end hotel in South Mumbai was designated to them by the state government. A letter is there which mentions the doctors to be given accommodation in that high-end hotel. However, because BMC officials were staying over there, you can see there is a proper video in which the doctors are told that now the rooms are occupied by BMC officials, and the doctors have no entry over there. And because of that, this negligence, carelessness, and also insensitivity that has been shown by the senior BMC officials, the doctors had to spend 2 hours on the road. This after finishing their duty in the COVID ward, 2 hours on the road, and after that, they made a plea to the concerned officials, and the accommodation that is now being given to them has no proper ventilation. It is a very small, packed room, and doctors are saying that if they continue to stay over here, there are chances that they might get affected by the virus. So now this clearly highlights the sorry plight of the COVID warriors, basically the doctors in the city of Mumbai. They have been risking their life to save lives of other patients, but the kind of treatment that is being meted out to them, basically it showcases discrimination and preferential treatment is being given to BMC officials.
This is at the hands of BMC officers. I suppose the centre should take care and handle this situation as well. Thanks very much, Arunil, for having joined us, and both gentlemen for having joined me on the show. I'm taking a quick break. More on the other side.